right now, just then, that I was going to be Canada's next great Prime Minister. Now, how would I make an imaginary land called Canada stronger? Steroids? And when I say imaginary, I mean that Canada exists in theory. It's a name brand product. After all, we're just people. Invisible lines don't define us. And to confine our thinking to the notion of a nation is just, well, unnatural. My rationale behind saying this is to set in motion a way of thinking that establishes everyone as true equals. People are like cereal. They may be different colors, but they all come from the same box. So instead of fighting over our perceived differences, we can build on our similarities. And our first challenge is war. War, deceptive in its motives and censored in its effects, is like taking that box of cereal and smashing it. It's like trying to eat with one chopstick. Useless. I'm still more likely to be struck by lightning than die in a terrorist attack. We've killed more people in this war on terror than the terrorists have, and if anyone's going to take away our freedoms, it's our own government. And as we've seen in the United States, they will. Governments have been at the forefront of perpetuating violence, both in their own region and around the world. Think Russia, think Germany. Even in America, Martin Luther King talked of his own government in the Vietnam era as
the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today.
If you say you're bad with names, then you'll be bad with names. Like if you say there's always going to be war, it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. Warmongers are a small, isolated minority of people. The majority of people live wanting peace, and that's why they've created hospitals, fire departments, and international relief organizations like the Red Cross and Salvation Army. So what more can we do to continue the peace-mongering?
To limit the government's control over our lives, citizens must be entitled real democratic power, true freedom of choice. And that choice comes in the form of the immediate and indefinite legal right to refuse to pay income tax, as long as their country is occupying another. And at the moment when the country's deployed fighting forces are returned home to their families, income tax. The tax almost 100 years old, made exclusively to pay for war, and was to be a temporary tax in the first place, will be phased out completely.
Your life is a limited edition. Your talent is valuable, and your sense of purpose is what motivates you to find your life's potential. If you were given an empty piece of paper, an empty room, an empty sky, is it empty? Or did you just fill it with an idea?
To take the profit out of war and make self-growth possible, functioning military positions, including invasion-capable forces, will be reintegrated into national positions to respond to natural disasters or other crises. The training for military posts, as well as actual volunteered service, will be authentic volunteering. Instead of salary, gratitude for one's time invested will be reciprocated in subsidies for secondary education and in compensation that will be paid for time missed from work. This approach is to enrich the opportunities people have and accentuate people's desire to lend a hand to those in need without making military involvement into a career.
Since I was a kid, I was told that violence wasn't the answer, but at the same time the government would enact policies that are the exact opposite of that and expects me to pay for them. Now, what type of society do you hope to create if you don't appreciate a person's ability to think for themselves?
Yo, yo, yo! Bring it down.
Especially for this contest, I've activated a phone, so anyone can call me with their comments, questions, or death threats. That phone number is 802-8719. That's 802-8719. Call now.